All right. Well, hey, good morning, everybody. We are trying take two on this. It's always nice when you start off your live stream and with the sound muted. So I apologize. Take two. Let's start this all over again. So hopefully you guys are having a great Wednesday morning. Get some coffee in your system. Get rocking and rolling. We're excited because we're already starting to break down another 130 plus assets that the amazing marketing minions have already run some quick ROI calculators through some things on a high level basis. And we'll get to the ROI calculator in a second, but it's always nice to, when you walk in and you get a check sitting on your desk for like 30 some odd grand. And that came from a tax overage on a deal that we originally paid $4 grand for the deal on a property that's maybe worth 36 grand. No, I take that back. No, that's about right. That's about right, about 5-6 grand. And it didn't really make sense for me to go ahead and foreclose because it needs some work. But we bid it up, taking back just under $31,000, which is a nice ROI on a deal like that for something that costs us just a little bit of money. So this was an asset in Florida, and it happens that way. We've done a couple of those to make things turn out very, very juicy. Obviously, it took us about a year of that to get it done for it to go to tax sale, but it was in decent enough condition that somebody bid $36,000 on it at the tax sale, and we got paid of 30. Nice to see something come to fruition that we worked hard on here, and so I'm really excited that we got in our my books yesterday. It's a book just on buying. It's kind of an intro little book on note buying. You guys have probably seen the ebook. We got such a good response in the ebook. We went ahead and got some printed up, a couple hundred of them, and I'll be signing some later today. Different events and different bonuses, but we're on. And Mark Cuber from our expansion services. Are you filming me too over there this morning? Hello. Awesome. But yeah, we're pretty excited about that. Kind of cool seeing stuff and actually written word there for you. But we've got a series of these that are coming out on some different as we go, beginning at mid-level and then advanced as we get rock and roll over here the next 6 to 12 months too. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, based on 5. Nicole did a really good job posting yesterday about our, if you're a pastor, president, military, or first responders, we count you in. Just email us over a picture of you in your uniform to Nicole at WeCloseNuts.com. We'd better get you counted in. We get some emails this morning on that, Nicole?
I did. I got about 7.
7 people. Yeah. Awesome. That's great. That's good. It's good stuff. We'll have more throughout the weekend. But anyway, today's topic is something we get a lot of phone calls. I get a lot of email requests on. How do we calculate our ROI? How do we calculate our return on investment? Now, a big that are different than Greg's, or different than Robert Woods, different than Chase Thompson, or Wayne Snell's, or Jake Tenenbaum. Everybody has a little bit different angle to what they do, and that's a good thing. The more experienced you are, the more you're going to adjust your ROI calculator. My ROI calculator now is a lot more advanced than it was 5-6 years ago. Your ROI calculator, a really good base model ROI calculator. I love. Spend some time helping a buddy of ours, exchange.com, and it goes through whichever exit strategy. It's about as good as an ROI calculator can do. I know that Simon that works with him did spend a lot of time working on that, and we kind of gave him some opinions on it and helped him tweak it a little bit. But it's a pretty good initial calculator. Now, the biggest thing you have to figure out is basically there's kind of two thoughts I will say on this. You have high end and then you have low end ROIs. Okay. Now, what happens a lot of time, we see people try to the back end ROI when they're submitting an offering. They try to take all their expenses on the back end and work that into a bid. Well, what unfortunately happens is they offer all these little knick and knack expenses, throws them out of the running for the bids on the front end. And I'm a big proponent, hey, do some high level on the front end to get some idea. And then as you get bids accepted, then you work through your back end a little bit to make sure you're still going to be rock and roll. Because you don't want to spend time on every little thing on the front end just to waste time and losing time submitting offers. Because a lot of times, the faster you can get bids in, the better it is. So I like doing very simple, high level, okay? It's really nice to on the back end because they're occupied, especially getting reinstated. You're not going to be putting heavy rehab costs in. Now, one big problem with that, if you're coming from the REO fix and flip side, it's a different mentality right off the bat. Well, I know we've got a couple of people flying in this next weekend for the fast track training who have come from the rehab side, and they've made offers, but their offers don't even make sense because they're considering, well, I got to drop 25 grand repairs in this asset, and I got to make my bids this to make any money. I'm like, wait a second, you're not thinking about the obvious fact it's occupied, and you have to think of the mentality of a bank, not a rehabber. Okay, so keep that in mind. So one of the quick things that we do is if it's occupied, which is what we shoot for, we look to see when payments are made. If there's payments made in the last 12 months, then we run what's called the stair-step method of offering. Now, of course, if the bank or seller gives you a price point, you want to look at what that price point is for you. Easy thing for you to figure, kind of a rough high end, is taking 12 months of principal and interest payment, provided the principal and interest payment is less than market rent the property. If market rent is lower, you're probably going to have to drop your payment to close to market rent to try to keep them in the property and to facilitate that. Okay. Now, one thing I don't include in my quick high end is any extras I get, any 4 months of back payments or 5 months of down payments or anything like that. I just try to go based off the payments. Okay. So I take 12 months of principal and interest payments times, 12 times the principal and interest payment. And then I divide that by what my rough offering price would be. So if they give me a reserve price, I figure what's that reserve price? Okay. If they don't give me a reserve price, we do the whole stair-step method. And by stair-step method, what I mean, anything over $50,000 is going to be 55%. Anything below in the 40s, 45. Anything in the 30s, 35. Anything below 30 will be in the 25% range. Now, usually I don't want to look at too much stuff below 25,000 unless it is occupied and it is in a good area for the most part. Okay. Now you make a lot of money on some stuff in Dayton and Akron if it's occupied, but it's vacant, you're going to lose your ass on the repair costs. Okay. But anyway, initially high end, 12 months divided by stair step or purchase price. Now, if that number, okay, equals 25, 30% or greater, great. That's a good starting point. Okay. Now, I do look in our second round is look how much in taxes are owed. Okay. Now, if it's like $500 or a year back taxes and it's occupied, am I going to be responsible for those taxes? Well, hopefully not. All right. The person that is on the loan is responsible for those taxes. Okay. The only time I would reduce offering would be now I'm still going to figure that's a cost to me, so I'm still going to figure. Let's say my stair-step method tells me I got to pay $45,000 for it. Okay. Well, I'm going to deduct $2,000 in taxes, so my offer is going to be $43,000, but my hopefully I can negotiate with a bar to get them to start paying or call the county to work out some payment plan. but I assume costs is for. Okay. So you have to but I ROI, if I pay that to all right, 12 times your price.
Well, it looks like, oh, we're back.
And we're back. All right. Sorry, internet's acting a little funky here in the office this morning. So anyway.
Okay.
All right. So this is initially the front end. Okay. Now my offering, I'm going to take whatever my purchase price is. You know, I got to figure taxes. Taxes owed. All right. I got to figure that out. Now I haven't put any repair costs because this is ultimately my idea of reinstating the asset. Okay. Reinstating the note, reinstating the bar, getting the working. So I have some great stuff now. I actually want 5 grand. Okay, and I don't figure that into my high-end ROI because often sometimes that's going to go into maybe covering some of the taxes owed, you know, covering some utility bills if I've got to pay those, you know, or if we got to help the borrower out to stay in the property that way. To hey, we'll pay a little bit of the taxes. Let's give you rock and roll. You know, if you go to grand, pay $2 grand or intake payment. Okay, so this is all high end. Now on the back end, you've got expenses that you got to figure out that go into. Say if you're picking at 45% of fair market value, I always like to budget then like 5 grand in costs. All right. Now this is primarily from a non-performing note side. A contract for deeds is going to be a little bit cheaper. The reason it's cheaper, I figure 5 grand is I'm going to average in. I'm going to approximately figure $3,500 for foreclosure costs and $1,500 for servicing, and that's based on a year's time. Done in 90 days. Yes, am I over exaggerating my expenses? Yes, I am. But the beautiful thing is, if I budget 5 grand and 9 out of 10 don't hit that 5 grand in expenses, I will have one that goes over 5 grand almost always. In the new AC, it's going to happen. All right. But initially here on a per asset basis, this excess 5 grand, even though I don't hit it, often becomes a slush fund to cover expenses. Because if I'm borrowing money from my investors and I'm paying, okay, purchase price is 20 and I'm borrowing 25, when I sell that asset, I'm still going to pay 25 back. The investor's going to get 25 grand back. What I use that 5 grand for, the 3 grand or 2 grand, is something I'm borrowing anyway. It helps me a little bit overage with other things. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. We got any questions out there so far?
Not yet. Triple A Adams.
Yeah.
He says he likes the workshop that we're doing, so the virtual workshop we're doing.
Awesome. AAA.
AAA Adams.
That's not Adam Adams. It's not Adam squared. We got Adam squared and Adams triple squared. Not cubed. Sorry.
No questions so far.
Okay. So this is just to get a rough end on a preview. Okay. On a preview of my bid, a pre-bid. Let's get the bid accepted. Let's see if we can get on the same page. And then once I get a bid accepted and I control that asset, that gives me a little more flexibility to adjust the bids down as I see needed. Now, back end, let's talk about back end expenses. Okay. Now, back end expenses, you're going to have probably some taxes we talked about. Okay. You're going to have everything that goes into kind of your due diligence, which you're going to have to pay for. You have O&E. You may have to pay BPOs. You may have to have a tax service look at your taxes. You may need to have, you're going to have a collateral company if you want to do that, like Richmond Monroe. You're going to have obviously servicing. Close that window there just in case. Okay. Other back-end expenses, you may have to pay some utility bills. Okay. Other back-end expenses and trying, oh, maybe you have a special servicing, Polaris or Law of Daniel Singer. Okay. Now the thing is, it's good in your O&E, your ROI calculator to figure these in. Are you gonna have insurance on the property? Okay. Now you have to figure these in because you're gonna have some of this, and this is gonna vary by how fast you sell your asset off. Now, one of the things that I've done for years is I always figure when I sell an asset in 12 months, if I have to foreclose, I'm gonna see 10% in closing costs. I average 10%. The reason I figure 10% is I know I have 6% in realtor commissions most of the time. Sometimes I get it down to 5 with like a short sale deal. Other times I know I'm going to have a year more taxes, right? I'm going to have a year of holding where the taxes are going to go. Now in Texas, we have tax rate 2.5% from the new aspect, not the back end here, the new year thing. So your taxes, now if you're not going to pay your taxes that are owed and you're going to let it ride for a year, hey, you know you're going to have some penalties for that. All right, so you got to figure that in, okay? But the thing is, figure out, hey, what is it they're giving? You're going to have some paperwork fees, just some miscellaneous attorney fees for filing stuff. You know, your attorney fees, figure that in a lot of times with our 5,000 in foreclosure costs. All right, today answers the sky. Figuring in your back end expenses once you get a final offering accepted is where you want to figure in. Okay, so what is this going to cost me? All right, well, taxes, you can check the county for that. Your O&E should probably cost you around $90 from Pro Title USA. Your BPO could be 50 to 200. We just had the realtors drive by assets and do kind of we're paying about $600 for 10 drive-bys. Okay. Maybe we go look and it costs you 100 or $130. That's up to you. Okay. Tax services. This is a company we'll kind of review the stuff, and that could be like $20 in a row. They'll charge you $5 a month per file, and then you're going to have also scanning fees. So you got to figure out what that is. Your servicing costs. There's going to be an a la carte menu on that aspect of it, but that's what I figure. I figured just roughly $100 a month. Now, am I paying $100 a month? No. I'm averaging that in there just because there will be times where they've got to expedite things and I get tagged for that, or they have a success and I get billed on a success thing. So I just figured that in. So utility bills, that's what we call them accounting. You've got to pay some of those. Special servicing, that may be say $600 for the first 90 days, like Polaris. Okay. Insurance, you can check with Ross Diversified or oh my God, I can't think of who's my other REI group. All right, paperwork. There's going to be creating paperwork if you got somebody in your office, or you can create assignments and lunches, things like that without a cost. That's a bonus. But if you got to pay for an attorney to do that, or Richmond Road, that's going to be in there. So you just figure in say $500 for that. Okay, and that can fall into there, or that can also fall over here. So that's kind of your back end. Now, one thing that's not in that yet is what? There's no repair costs figured out because you don't know what the repair is. Now, this is why it's so important to go after owner-occupied assets. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to be pretty. All right, so a lot of times when we end up foreclosing or we evicting, we do give cash for keys to the borrower to leave the property in good condition. So you got to figure cash for keys. Is that going to be $1,000 or $2,000? And I have people that ask me, well, what should I offer them? I'm like, it's all conversation. What are they looking for? If they want cash or keys, they want $5,000. Well, I had a borrower want $5,000. I looked like you have $4,500. I'll give you $500. And they agree to that. I'm going $500 to leave the house in good condition, take the property back sooner than it taking a year or 6 months to foreclose. Okay, so this is your back end aspect of that you have to figure in. If you're buying at 45, So you're probably picking it up at 50% of value. Let's just say 40K. And you've got roughly, you got your 5K and servicing foreclosure costs, you're at 45K. Okay. And you have an additional 3K in miscellaneous expenses. So you're at 48. Okay. Now you have to look at what you're back in if you sell that asset and you get full value. Well, I never try to figure selling it at a full 100% value. I figure I'm going to probably be somewhere around 90%. So if I'm at 75K minus 10%, which is 7,500, that means I'm going to be at 67.5. All right, is what I'm listening for. 67.5. And if I have another 5K miscellaneous expenses as far as slight repairs, paint, carpet, you want to talk a rehab or figure out, hey, what do you budget per square foot protection or roasted mushroom? Desert sand. It's called Pottery Barn theme, right? With some flat FHA grade 4 carpet. All right. So it's the stuff that you see in most of the FH rehabs. It looks nice. It's not heavy duty, but it gives the picture of being nice. Okay. So I'm going to figure that is in there. So I'm going to end up seeing really 62.5. Okay. Well, if I'm at 48,000, that means my profit is 14,500. Now, 14,500, okay, divided by my expenses. All right, is 48. It's 48,000. Somebody want to calculate that real fast for me? What do you get? 14,500 divided by 48 grand.
30%.
It's about a 30% yield. Exactly right. That's pretty good. Now, if that took 6 months, it's actually a 60% yield because you have to double figure the velocity capital. You do it twice there. Now, if it took you a year, great, it's 30%. Now, if it took you 18 months, that's probably more of a 20% ROI. And if you're splitting that with your funding partner, that means they're going to walk with 10. But if you're here, they're making a 15% ROI because you're going to take 15%. All right. So figure their ROI was like, well, if you got it split 50-50, it's 14.5. That means you're going to get 72.50 for your time frame. They're going to make 72.50 on their $48,000 investment, which is still better than they would ever get in the stock market somewhere. Does that make sense? I know it's kind of hard to see behind me. We go through more of this
at our virtual.
Exactly. At our virtual workshop this weekend. We're going to spend a big chunk of time going through this on Sunday of the virtual. What kind of questions or comments do we have from people out there?
Cody Cox says, thanks for the motivation one more time.
One more time.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens a lot of times is people, we talked about this, fix and flippers that come into the note game, they look at after repair value. It's as is. Okay. As is. Now, yes, if you do see that it's vacant and you see comps in the market being for 150, not 75, and the rehab, you will want to look at that. Hey, if I drop 25 grand in repairs, is it going to make sense for me to do that to make a lot more money? In some cases, it will be. Now, you can't take that 25 grand repairs, though, and reduce it from your as-is value. That's not going to work. You're making your money on the difference. Question, comment?
Jason Bird said, no, we couldn't see the whiteboard with you standing in front.
I know. Jason Bird said. Jason Bird said.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Birdman, because I just blocked the sun out. I am Superman. All right. Especially when he stands behind me, nobody can see Jason Bird either. All right. A little runt, but anyway. So this is kind of a rough area. Now, one thing you figure in too is if it's going to turn into a rental for you. If it's a good, you can rent it. What's your rental cost? I mean, you're going to have property management. You're going to have repairs. You're not going to have a full 12 months of rent coming in. So I don't like rentals. It's like my least favorite strategy because I have to hold on that asset longer than anything else. But market rent, all right, 9 months times market rent, divide that by what our investment is here to foreclose this thing out. And does that make, and then divide that number by 2 because I figure it's going to take 2 years, a year to foreclose and a year to collect those payments. And usually you're going to see a single-digit ROI on that. This is why I don't think buying notes in longer foreclosure states makes sense as an ROI. It's to make most sense to modify it in the first 90 days or take it to foreclosure. Okay. Now, one thing we did not talk about, if you're in a longer foreclosure state, i.e. Florida, what has happened in Florida the last couple of years? Appreciation has gone through the roof. In some cases, my assets have doubled, tripled in value. That's a good thing, but I don't count that into what I'm doing on a monthly or annual basis. That's extra gravy I don't count on. Another thing I don't count on, which I think is a big mistake some investors make, or investors notes, is they start to calculate when they get hardest hit funds. And that is not going to happen about 99% of the time. Hardest hit funds still offering. This is the hardest hit funds, and they brought it back, and they're starting to get things back up and cranking again. You almost need to, if you're going to focus on hard hit funds, you almost need to find servicing companies in those states that are approved with hardest hit funds. All right, and you can find that out by going to the National Federal Mortgage Licensing website to see if they're approved for that, or calling the hardest hit funds office of the states. Hey, is this servicer approved with you guys? What servicers are approved with you that I can use for Georgia or Alabama or Florida, because that's important. Your servicer's got to be approved with them to be able for you guys to get those checks off that. But I don't count on that as a guarantee. That is always going to be gravy for the most part. I'm always going to be walking through my assets this way, and if that happens with hardest hit funds, awesome. Christmas came in May. All right. It is what it is. What are the questions or comments? Any snarky more comments from Jason Bird?
No, I love you.
I love him too. Oldest friend. It's always funny to.
Is he one of the ones that has romper?
No, he is not from the romper rehabbers, the rehab rompers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jason Bird is a buddy of mine. He runs a law firm in Beaumont and Houston at 2 law offices. Longest tenured friend. We know each. We met at Metallica. Yes, Metallica played at the Chili Con Carne reunion for us. And Chili Con Carne, we both played linebacker in high school. So he was chili, which was all the spice. I was the meat. So affectionately from Coach Robledo, John Robledo, our linebacker coach. But anyway, yeah. We should get a lot of trouble to have a lot of fun. You're going to need probably a spreadsheet that has 2 tablets. So you got your front end on your first tab, and your second tab is going to be your individual expenses. And what does that cost you? All right. It may cost somebody $150 for knowing, if they don't know better enough to ask, I just need an updated title report, not a full title report. There's a difference in cost there. You may have a cost for $150 for a drive-by. Well, if we call a realtor and they drive by it, or a good quality realtor like Brent Garrett down in Fort Myers area, he'll drive by the asset for us, give a true value condition on it, and we'll be good to go. All right. That reminds me, I need to call him on an asset I'm selling. So you're going to have to figure this out going back and forth. And I apologize if you're not the best at Excel. This is one thing you got to spend a little bit of time on. You got to figure out how to add these columns up. And your columns may vary by state. If you buy in Georgia, your foreclosure time frame is going to be a lot faster than it would be if you're buying in Florida. Can we agree to that? And as a Georgia reminder, bids are due today at noon Central Time. So Jennifer, if you like the sweet Georgia peach deals, sweet Georgia deals that we talked about on Monday night with Joel Markovitz from the Lost Dame Singer. Okay.
Rob Blanc has a question. Usually is the BPO an as-is estimate?
Always as is. Yes, great question, Laura. You always want to get an as is. What's my 30-day quick sale price as is? Now it's important to see what's listed, okay, what's pending, and what has sold in the last 90 days. Now a CMA will show you that. You're going to have to dive into the specific assets, make sure they're the same quality level as what the asset you're looking at. You don't want to, a realtor just do a quick location search, and they've got 3-bedroom, 2 baths that are 2,000 square feet, and yours is 1,000. That value will be way off. You want to make sure it's in the same time frame, in the same area as well. You got to be careful because a lot of hedge funds and snow sellers will order BPOs, and there'll be assets in there that skew the value up that aren't even close to where you're at. So they could be on miles away, which is not an accurate BPO. This is why it's important to always get a local realtor to pull numbers, because they know the market. They can drive by and say, oh, well, my CMA said 25 driving by this point, but it's as is. Now, it's good to know, like I said before, if it's going to need some work, what's the likelihood of what I get on a high-end rehab? If I put in some good work to it, great. What can those numbers look like? I guarantee you, if you run the numbers and the time value of money and the headaches of rehabbing long distances, it's always best just to sell that asset off. Sell it as an REO, quick, get it moved, dump, get your money in, and double down to 2 different assets. Waiting 6 to 9 months can be a drag on a rehab unless you're going to make it an extra 75 grand or so. So velocity capital, how many times can you get that money working? How many more assets can you buy? You know, can your money that buys 1 asset, can you get it back? Now you're buying 2 assets. Now you get those money back. Now you're buying 4 assets. All right. It's the well, that looks like a pyramid scheme, but it's not. But you get what I'm saying as far as 1 asset and you're doubling down. We're not running a pyramid scheme. It's kind of funny. Okay. All right. But yes, as is always is what you want to look at. Not after repair. Now, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people will take a look at ARV times 70% minus repairs as a maximum allowable offer from the fix and flip side. That's not what we do here on the note side. Note side, may not have to repair. Get it reperformed and get it owner occupied, or buy them that are owner occupied for cash flow. And I guarantee you often see the cash flow from for one payment, mortgage payment, is going to be, if not greater than or better than the cash flow you'd see net from a rental after you put that work in. How much from people? Awesome. Well, guys, I am actually got to jump on another conference call. So hopefully and just help make sure you do, and you won't be disappointed. We'll get you entered into the base camp group and go from there. So have a great hump day Wednesday. Go make things happen, and we'll see you.